Long way, get this shit a long way, shit a long way. Long way, hit the long way, 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 shit, long way, long shit, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit, gotta get the shit long, finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit the long way, get the shit. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get this shit the long way, yeah. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be the new slaves. No, we gotta finish rich. No, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand rich. She don't understand niggas gotta get rich. She don't understand sometimes we got hit lit. No, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get the shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up a entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone show. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Yeah, get the shit the long way. My bitch be tripping back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tari, I ain't playing games, so I'm done Tari. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. Said fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. Said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I went and got some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get the shit the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Back and forth like the pong way, yeah. Man, I'ma get the shit the long way, get the shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. You gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay for them, yeah. So we gon' get the shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get the shit the long way, yeah, cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah, we gon' get the long way, yeah.
What's up, everybody? Let me remove this real quick. Welcome. What's up, Aaron? First one in the house, all the way from another country. Congratulations, sir. Thank you for coming today. Excuse me. Anyway, welcome if this is your first time to SavingsMinusDebt. I'm LJ, the founder of SMD. Okay. SMD is not me. SMD is a family of people that think like me, I guess. You know, that's the best way I can. And what that really is that we all trust mathematics. Okay. We all trust the calculator. We all agree that the calculator is the answer. Okay. That's what we do here. Right. So with this knowledge, what's up, Andre? With this knowledge, I understand that capitalism is psychological, split into two parts, positive and negative. All right. Now, the people that live on the negative side of the economy are called debt slaves. And you probably ask yourself, well, who is a debt slave? Debt slaves are people that believe they can own with absolutely no money of their own. People that believe they can buy houses with mortgages. People that believe they can buy cars with car loans. People that believe they can buy a rental property with a mortgage and instantly profit and save money and all that stuff. Those are called debt slaves. Now, the psychological part is this. They don't know that they're debt slaves. They don't even know that they don't own themselves. They are the money. They are the taxes. They are everything because they don't know anything. Now, the only thing a debt slave would have to do is just open up the calculator, put in their mortgage payment minus their mortgage balance, and hit equal. The large negative number that you see means you are owned. You don't own anything. You are owned using the house. That means you're owned. That's what the large negative number means. Now, here's the psychological part. Here's the choice, okay? Whether you're going to stay in the debt matrix or not forever. If you look at the negative number and see it for what it is, and you believe it and understand you own nothing, you'll start to free yourself. But if you still look at the negative number and believe you're a homeowner when the calculator is clearly showing you that you're not, I guess that's where you're going to live for the rest of your life. It's not a big deal. You guys are the main debt slaves, are the main everything. Without you, there is no economy. Okay. I want you guys to understand that. Now, I was you once before, but I was the best kind. The six figure college educated, deep in debt type of debt slave. That's the kind I was. The middle class. That was me. Okay. Till I realized one day, I came across Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey basically said, take this calculator and my baby steps and get out of debt. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't need any of his programs, and made clear, simple to me. He said, put them in order, use the calculator, do this and that, and you'll be free. And that's exactly what I did. Till I got to the part of Dave Ramsey's plan where he says, when you get down to your mortgage, start putting away 15% into retirement. To me, I said, hold up, Dave, you had me use the calculator this far? Because when I use the calculator, I put in my mortgage payment minus my mortgage balance and hit equal, I see a large negative number, which means I don't have 15% of anything to put anywhere. That's what I said to myself. I was like, something's weird here. Oh, that's called business. That's Dave's business, where he redirects you to some super pros that are going to break the laws of mathematics for you at a fee. That's called business. Nothing's wrong with it. That's perfectly okay. As long as it's legal, I don't care. It doesn't bother me, but that's a choice. You could choose to use the calculator, trust the calculator or not. That's you. So I chose to trust the calculator. Once I understood this, I realized that I was now on the positive side. As soon as I got to zero, according to the math I learned in elementary school, zeros in the middle, positive, green numbers on the right mean positive, red numbers on the left mean negative. And according to zero, it says I'm in the positive. Yes, I'm in the positive. You mean I didn't actually free myself until I was in my 40s? Correct. Yes. Some people never do. So don't worry about your age when you free yourself. Okay. Don't even get hung up on that, because millions will never even know what I'm talking about. That's what I started to realize. So I broke away from Dave. That's Dave's business. See you, Dave. This is bigger what I'm doing. What I do is bring people from on the positive side. And then when you come to the positive side, you understand taxes are your friend. Taxes are not your enemy. That's called phantom income, which debt slaves cannot do. You guys can't save. You guys don't get any tax deductions at all on anything. I know it looks like that on paper, but if you use the calculator, you'll clearly see that you do not. And it doesn't matter if you believe what I'm saying or not. Everything I'm saying is mathematically true. So if you don't believe the calculator, that's your problem. That's not my problem. So when I bring you over to the positive side, guess what? You can make as much money as you wish. All the players in the game know how you're doing it. The banks, IRS, government, whatever the system says, they all know all the pieces. That's on purpose. That's mandatory on the positive side. I want you guys to understand that every single player in the game understands everything clearly. No misunderstanding, mathematically proven. What you guys don't know is that once I got to zero, I realized that my credit report had been my owner papers all my life. I didn't even know that. Once I got down to zero, I realized there were nobody listed on my credit report. No, nobody. See, debt slaves, you guys don't know that your credit report is really your owner's ledgers, and your credit scores are reward points for staying in debt with the owners listed on your credit report. That's how it works. In order to come over to zero, you must first own the business of yourself. And your credit report shows you how much it's going to cost you to own the business of yourself. Just log into your online credit report. Just go in there, look up your total debt. They always have it somewhere. Write it down and put a negative in front of it. That's how much it's going to cost to own you. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you can come straight to me. I can just give you the plan and you just follow it and you'll be free, but you can continue to do it on your own, taking years. I could give you the blueprint. You pay me, I give you the blueprint, and it'll take you. It counts on how much debt you're in. But if you still try to do it on your own with never experiencing freedom in your life, it's going to take you years. And then if you finally get around to it 10 years later, you're gonna be really upset at yourself, really bad. I keep telling this is what I'm trying to reach out to. If you are a tax professional, business, personal, I don't care. If you are a tax professional and you are very passionate about what you do and you don't know capitalism is psychological, I strongly suggest you come see me and I'll make you the best in the game in the United States of America. If you've never heard what I'm talking about ever, even though everything I'm saying is mathematically true and you still never heard of what I'm talking about, you come see me. I'll make you one of the best in the United States of America, the world, if you want it. It's everywhere. Capitalism's everywhere. If you want to know something that millions of people do not, come see me. Because once you understand that your credit report is your owner papers, you're going to understand for what it is. That they're your owner papers. And some of you guys got pages, pages. The majority of you guys don't even know how many pages you got, nor do you know how much debt you're in. You don't even know how much it costs to own yourself. That's scary, man. If you don't know how much debt you have, you're a debt slave. And you don't care, never bother to look. If you're making payments on your whole entire world, that means you don't own yourself. Do you understand that? If you're making payments on all your entire life, your phone, your TV, your wash and dryer, your house, your everything, you're a debt slave. You own nothing, not even yourself. That's why you're making payments. How do I know this? You're probably thinking, how do I know? Because I'm an owner. I don't make payments. I own myself, and my credit report proves it. That's proof. You guys, have you noticed when credit report agencies get hacked, they never scramble up debt numbers, do they? No, they don't. That never happens. Have you noticed that? That never happens. Not that we know of. I don't care. Whatever. I love it because it's proof. I'm probably the only one on the internet that has ever shown their entire credit report live for everybody to see. I made a video about it. Go look. Now it's your job to go find another person on the internet in the world that does it. Go find somebody that did what I did. Find one. You can't. That I challenge you for that. Go do that. Go find that. And they cannot be 18 either. They got to be around my age. I'm gonna make it harder. Make it around my age with a credit report that look like mine. What's up, Lumina? You're probably one of the people that walk around bragging about your credit score. Oh man, I got a 730. Paying people to help you improve your credit score. Do you know the majority of the people that are helping you fix your credit? They're debt slaves just like you. They're not, listen, those people are not doing anything. I hope you understand that. They're not doing, you have to pay off your debt. You guys are crossing your fingers. Oh man, if I do this and claim that, I won't have to pay my debt. That's what they already know, debt slaves. You guys do that. Do you guys understand that? All you guys do that. Each one of you are crossing your fingers, hoping that the debt you made yourself gets erased, so you don't have to pay it. They already know you guys are doing that because millions of you guys do it, and these people are just taking advantage of you. Hey, I can get this get this mailed out to you for a monthly fee to try to. It's business. Hey, if it's legal, I don't really care what these credit fixers do. Just make sure they're legal. Okay, that's all I say. If put it this way, you want to reach out to one of those credit fixers and you're in a particular state, I strongly suggest you read the rules and regulations of your state governing, credit fixers or something, right? Just make sure those people that you're hiring have all those credentials because the majority of them don't. Because I'm not saying that there's not anybody out there trying to help you with your credit. There's some seriously legit people, but they're hard to find because they got so many scammers and not putting a tarnishing their business, which is a business I would never want to get in, ever. You come to the positive side and you're a business accountant, tax professional, you trying to start your own business, you want to start your own firm, and you never heard of somebody saying capitalism is psychological, come see me. Because once you start here, you won't stop here. Do you realize, wait a minute, capitalism's all over the world? Yes, all over the world. Yeah, they're probably designed, structured a little bit different, but the main thing is are debt slaves. Debt slaves are the majority. It doesn't matter how it's structured. You just go over there, figure it out, whatever, and just become rich over there too. It doesn't matter. There's not a country that's going to be unhappy for you participating in their economy positively and profitable. Okay, that works for everybody. What's up, Robert? You think when I was a debt slave, I didn't pay attention to what the central bank was. I didn't even know what that was. What is that? I don't know. Now when I look at it, the one in DC, now I know what it is. Now I know what it represents. I understand now. You mean there's one in every capitalist country? Yeah, that's weird. Debt slaves are the majority, and the best part about it, they don't even know it. You think the housing market would exist if mortgages didn't exist? Of course not. So therefore, they must believe they can buy houses with mortgages. Yes, that's what they believe. Debt slaves believe they can buy houses with mortgages. So what? You come over to the positive side, guess what? You sell them houses with mortgages. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be in business. Nothing can exist without the banks. I understand that now. You guys understand that? Nothing exists without them. Everybody knows that. Well, they don't know that. I understand that. Hey, listen, that is crystal clear to me. Crystal clear. You guys have to ask the bank permission to buy a house, buy anything. Do you guys understand that? What does that say to you? That says you're on the wrong side. That's what that says. People that understand money, guess what? They use the bank for tax purposes. Those are tax reasons. The whole system, it's just designed for you to play. That's all. It's not a big deal. You just got to play a certain way. That's it. Can't have people stacking up money and just sitting on it. That would throw everything off. Forces them to play. Now I know if you've been in the credit game all your life, you've been working years and years and years working on your credit, making all your payments on time, and just getting in good with. You've been with a certain bank for years. Then you get to zero and realize you've been doing it all wrong. That's a hard pill to swallow. It is. You're gonna reminisce on, hey man, people have been telling me since I was 18, man, if I ever want to get a house or a car in the future, I have to have good credit. You didn't realize those are debt slaves talking about financing depreciating objects with interest. You didn't know that. You didn't know to say, why would I finance something that goes down in value at an interest rate? You didn't even know to answer that question, to ask them that question. They don't know that. If you ever want to buy a house in the future, they're talking about financing a house. They're not buying anything. They're using the word wrong. Sorry, there's a chopper in the background. When they use buy and talking about a mortgage, that says they don't understand that they can't buy a house with a mortgage. That's what that says. And they want you to be like them. Those are the people you do not listen to. You don't listen to people like that. Oh man, if you ever want to get a nice car, make sure your credit's good. They're talking about financing a car. You don't listen to people who finance cars. You do not take financial advice from people that believe they own houses with mortgages. You cannot listen to them. If you have an old car and one of your friends drives up in a brand new car, but they're making payments and they're talking about your old pay it off car, that's a debt slave. You do not listen to them. Once you know the car is financed, the driver of the car becomes irrelevant. The bank says, "Hey, you can drive our car as long as you keep making the payments. As soon as you stop making the payments, we're taking our car back." This is crystal clear. Nothing there's When you come to the positive side, this is crystal clear. There's nothing. It's not a trick. You just know. But you guys got to understand that when you come to the positive side, it's a whole different language here. That you guys got to understand this, and I want you to listen to me clearly. They don't know that there's a they don't even know that it's positive and negative, let alone know there's a positive side to the economy. Therefore, they don't understand the language of positivity on this side exists. They have no idea. When somebody says, "Hey, I bought a house," the only way to buy a house is in cash. They're talking about financing. They think buying and financing are the same, which they are not. When they say, "Hey, uh, I got a rental property and I put a renter in there and the rent is 2,000. I charge them 5,000. I'm profiting 3,000, but they didn't even have the money to buy the property in the first place." You can't profit from a house you didn't have the money to buy. Math, if you put the numbers in the calculator, the calculator says you're not profiting for many, many years until the bank, you got to pay back the bank first before you can profit. That's what the calculator says. You cannot profit a penny until the bank is paid back first. That's what the calculator says. But debt slaves believe they can. That's what I'm talking about. That's the language. They don't know you can't do that. When you see guys like what's that guy's name? The gray-haired guy, real estate guy. I forgot his Grant Cardone, right? The reason why he shows you cars and houses and boats, he's talking to debt slaves because all that stuff has nothing to do with money. Why does he keep putting his car in there? Why he keep showing us Rolls Royce symbol? That's for you, debt slaves. That car has nothing to do with money. It's actually in the. That's how I know he's not talking to me because it's irritating. Why don't you just be still in the office and tell me? Because it's not about that. It's about you guys, debt slave. You guys think money looks like a Rolls Royce. That's why you guys think that. That's why I don't pay attention to him. He's not talking to me. He's talking to you guys. Anybody you see driving cars and putting cars in the background and trying to tell you about how to be successful in money, they're talking to debt slaves. Because when I see stuff like that, I don't know if any of that is theirs. I don't know if they're making payments. I don't know if it's prop. Did they rent it? I don't know. That's too much thinking. Why am I even bothered? Tell me about money. What's up, Deshaun? Deshaun? Oh, Monique again, if I didn't say it the first time. That stuff is for you guys. There's another guy that Chris or something. He always has stacks of fake money on the desk. Why you have stacks of fake money on the desk? He's talking to debt slaves. You can buy that money at propmoney.com or something like that, and they sell green. Looks real too. It looks very real, especially on camera. When they say that you can profit from rental properties, no, you can't. Mortgage rental property, you can't do that. Now, I'm not saying not do that. I just want you to understand that you can't do that. Okay, as long as you understand that, you'll pay the house off faster. Let's put it that way. As long as you understand it, put it this way. If you went ahead and got a mortgage rental property, right? Because I'm not saying not, because that's business. That's on the business side, right? And you got a mortgage rental property, as long as you understand that you are not profiting until the bank is paid off first, that will help prevent you from pulling out profits that don't exist, getting double taxed and all this other stupid nonsense. All the profit from putting a renter in there stays and it goes right back into the house. None of it comes out to you. None of it. That's how you do it. It's like setting a microwave oven. Doot, 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 doot. Just wait for the beep. Next thing you know, the house will be paid off before you know it. This is how you'll understand the system. If you want to come to the positive side, and you want to do real estate, and you want to be a real estate mogul, come see me. I'll help you do it. You're probably thinking, well, LJ, you don't know nothing about real estate. I don't have to. I don't have to know about anything, but real estate has to know about mathematics. You better believe that. Real estate cannot work without math. That's all I need to know. Not vice versa. Math doesn't need real estate. Real estate needs math. Math doesn't need anybody. Everybody needs it. Just make sure that's clear. What's up, QJC? Now, if you understand this, math is true, right? You go to your credit report and you total up your debt, write it down on a piece of paper in red and put a negative in front of it and put it in your wallet or your purse. Each time you start thinking about buying a new TV, or you think you need a new washer and dryer, you think you need a bigger house or whatever, you pull out that piece of paper and you say to yourself, this is how much money I have to buy a new laptop. This is how much money I have to buy a new phone. This is how much money I have to invest in the stock market. This is how much money I have to donate to my 401k. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, LJ, that means I have nothing, anything. Correct. You have nothing, not even yourself, not even the business of yourself. How are you going to participate in our economy and you don't even own yourself? You know how many business owners that are claiming they own businesses and they don't even own themselves? Millions of people. And guess what? Just like people with mortgages and houses, those people are important in business too. They need to believe that they own a business and they own nothing. Are you a tax professional? Are you a tax business owner and you've never heard of this? You want to be the best? Come see me. I train you. I train you, and then you train all your staff. Do you know there will not be another business tax firm in the United States of America that will be able to mess with you, your firm, and they won't even know how you're doing it? Won't even know at all. You own a business accounting firm right now, and you've never heard of what I'm talking about? Come see me. I'll make you the best in the United States of America right now, and nobody else will know how you do it, even if you told them, because they don't know that it exists. Thinking about going into business with somebody, say, hey, man, before we do that, can I see your personal credit report? They're gonna be like, "Oh, my credit score is this, man." No, you stop them in their tracks and you say, "I'm not talking about your credit score. That's already a dead giveaway." When you hear somebody bragging on their credit score, that's a good indication that they're a debt slave. Because I don't even know what my credit score is, and I don't even care. I don't care what my credit score is. So what? So It changes like every other month. It just goes up and down and up and down, and I ain't even doing nothing. Well, I'm using a credit card, but whatever, I don't really care. But as soon as you hear somebody do that, you pretty much guaranteed they're going to be a debt slave. You stop them and say, "Hey, I want to see your entire credit report. I'll show you mine if you show me yours." They're going to say, "Well, why you want to see all that?" They might even get offended. So what? This is business, baby. Take your feelings out of it. Period. My credit report shows I own the business of myself. I need to know if you own the business of yourself. Here, let me give you an example for you younger people. I've been kind of, well, not following, but I kind of see it on the news. This DJ Envy and all this other stuff, ripping people off, and his partners they've been doing, allegedly doing some scamming, some real estate scamming, whatever, right? I want you guys to understand something, okay? When you understand that capitalism is psychological, people like that would never in a million years be able to fool you, ever. All you would have to do is say this: "Can I see your personal credit report?" Do you guys understand that? How powerful that is? You guys don't even know. I wouldn't tell, let me tell you, I wouldn't even know to tell you that if I hadn't freed myself. I wouldn't know to even tell you these words I'm telling you. Those guys are not, they're fooling people that don't understand how money works. They're not fooling people like us. There's no way in a million years I would trust that. Now I want you guys to point out something. I want to point out something. They'll tell you guys about these big investors of 50,000, 100,000, 300,000, blah, blah, blah. But I want you to listen closely when they say, "Oh, I refinanced my house. I pulled it from here. I did this." Most of they're borrowing the money to invest. That's a red flag. If you're borrowing money to invest, that's a red flag. Big numbers. You think to yourself, "Wow, if they have that much money, why would they fall for the trick?" Because it has nothing to do with that. What I'm trying to explain to you has nothing to do with those kind of smarts. What I'm explaining to you is not taught in school. It's not. That's on purpose. Believe that. Totally understand why. Never in school, and it won't be ever in any country that is capitalist, ever. Not to regular people, at least. Not to debt slaves. You guys wouldn't understand it anyway because you don't even own yourself. Your credit report proves it. Now, I know it's a hard pill to swallow. Damn. My credit report are my debt slave papers? Yes, they are. Yes. There's there's nobody that's gonna get on there and send a piece of paper to somebody and then erase all your debt. You might as well give up on that pipe dream. Do you guys understand? They get practice from you guys every single day. If you did something repeatedly, guess what happens? A pattern is created, debt slaves. Then you get other debt slaves just picking your financial bones. "Hey, I can do that for you. I can maybe do this, get rid of that debt. It might not come back." All that, they just tell you what you want to hear, and then you guys pay them a monthly fee. It's sad how they do you. Those are bottom feeders. Well, it's legal what they're doing to you, but hey, it's still bottom feeding because they're just taking advantage of you. Get the debt slaves that really don't want to know, they're too scared to even look at their credit report. Don't even want to. They find you guys that don't even want to. You guys don't even want to know how much debt you have. Those are the ones they really get. When you come to the positive side of the economy, guess what? You're no longer afraid of the IRS. You guys know that? IRS agents, because you're playing by the laws and the rules. So there's no reason to be scared. That's why scammers always run that scam. "Hey, we're the IRS. We're going to take you to jail and this and that," because you guys don't understand how it works. That's why you're afraid of it. So they use it. Scammers can't use that on me because I'm not, that doesn't happen in my life. I do what I'm supposed to be doing. When you come to the positive side of the economy, guess what happens when you play right? You legally not pay taxes legally. all because you're playing correctly. That's how it works. You legally not pay taxes. Now, a debt slave hears that and like, what are you talking about? How in the world? What does that even mean? Legally not pay taxes. Let me throw this in AI. AI is not even going to know that answer for you guys. Ooh, AI is so smart. AI is this smart to who? You can type, hey, legally not paid. AI is not even going to give you. Do you think the AI is going to be able to give you the answer? No, it's not. You can type in AI, hey, can I buy a house with a mortgage? It's going to tell you yes. Not only is it going to tell you yes, it's going to show you how to do it. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. But that's what AI is supposed to do. It's supposed to tell you how to do. It's supposed to tell you how to do it. Hey, it's not. Listen, it's nothing personal. I don't care what it does. Hey, am I really a debt slave if I have debt on my credit report? It's not even going to know how to respond to you. It doesn't. It does. Nobody asks it that questions like that because it's psychological debt slaves. It's not physical. Here, let me give you an example, debt slaves. Okay, so you guys can really understand this. Okay, money doesn't exist for you, debt slaves, at all. Imagine, imagine you're holding $100 bill in your hand. Okay, physically, right? Now, let's say the average car payment is $700 a month. All right. You open up the calculator with the other hand and put in 100 minus 700. Okay. And hit equal. Now, according to the calculator, now while you're looking at the calculator, according to the calculator, do you have $100 in your hand? The answer is no, you don't. Now, look at your hand and look at yourself holding the $100. According to your eyes, do you have $100 in your hand? The answer is yes. So here's the dilemma. Which one do you believe? The calculator or the $100 in your hand? Which one do you believe? Well, I'm gonna give you a hint. The calculator's never ever wrong, ever, ever. Nobody in the history of the world has ever broken the laws of mathematics. That's just a hint. Okay, now you get to choose which one you want to choose. Do you believe the $100 in your hand, or do you trust the calculator? That's your choice. If you believe the $100 in your hand, you'll be in the debt matrix until you're dead. If you trust the calculator, that'll be the first step on your way out to the positive side, over to the positive side of the economy. I'm finding that folks don't know the meaning of debt free. You are correct, Omanike. They do not. They don't know what it means. Some of the answers I hear from people talking about, I'm debt free, but I got a car payment. I'm debt free, but the mortgage. I'm debt free, but this loan over here. Then you're not debt free. You either are or you're not. There's no in between. You guys understand? If you decide to do business with somebody, you better ask to see their personal credit report first. Your personal credit report shows me and tells me how you've been treating the business of yourself over all these years. If I see your credit report and you owe back taxes, I'm not getting in business with you. Are you crazy? If I look at your credit report and you got student loan debt older than your children, I'm not getting into business with you because I see how you've been treating the business of yourself. Imagine this. Imagine you come across a person and they have $100,000 in student loan debt, right? But for the last 10 years, they've been making six figures. Does that make any kind of sense? To have $100,000 in student loan debt for 10 years while making six figures. That doesn't even make sense. You don't get into business with people like that. That makes absolutely no sense. What's up, Malika? When you come across a person and you might be, put it this way, you might be in business right now with a person like that. You don't understand finances are messing up. You don't understand where the money's going. Something's not right. You just can't figure it out. All you got to do is say, we need to share each other's personal credit reports now. We do. It's going to explain where the money's going. Say it like this. Say it like this. Say like you had a business of 10 employees and you know money is missing. Money's coming up missing. You just can't figure out where it's coming from. All you got to do is see their personal credit reports. That will narrow down your search. Why do I know? How do I know that? Because financial thieves, scammers, they start with themselves. First, they have to practice. So they always, since they have no record, they start practicing with themselves until they ruin it with scamming. And then they start going outwards to scam other people. That's how it works. So if you pull their credit report, they might not even have a police record. That's why they probably got through your employee system. All you got to do is run their personal credit report and it'll narrow down your search. It's not difficult at all. Your personal credit report are your debt slave papers. Now, I know you guys, the majority of you guys don't even want to hear that. Trust me, I know it's a tough pill to swallow, tough. Big old pill too, big. You might have to cut it up in pieces. Just like Omanike, you guys don't even understand the type of pill she had to swallow to come to this realization. My man, Nick Penn, big payoff, big to get out of debt, get that freedom. Oh, you ran into that today. Got it. Well, thank you for stopping in, Malika. Much appreciated as always. I got a family member with 190,000 in student loan, but he still travels often. I'm trying to figure out how he is still doing it. You never, QJC, you never will. You try to go into the mind of a debt slave that doesn't know that they're a debt slave? Good luck, buddy. You about to go on a roller coaster ride. 190,000 and he's not even tripping? Yeah. That's a problem. I would be terrified, literally terrified. 190,000 of debt I cannot get rid of, and the only way I can get rid of is pay it off. You guys with student loan debt, do you guys understand what that means? You're not getting out of that debt unless you pay. You have to pay back every single penny of that debt. You see how they do, you guys? Because you guys have no choice. Oh, they're not responding to your calls. The new servicer is not doing something, this and that, because you guys are going nowhere. It doesn't matter how they do business. What are you going to do about it? Complain? What are you going to do? Nothing but pay interest and shut up. You can do all the traveling, all the pretending you want, pretending you have this good old life, that you have you have the nice car, the nice job, you went to the right school, but you got $200,000 of student loan debt hanging over your head. You're just an educated debt slave. That's all you are. You're nothing more than that. I want you guys to understand that, especially you doctors. The hospitals own you, doctors own you. You see all that electronic shit they have you guys wearing, doctors? That's because they own you. If you owned yourself, you wouldn't wear none of that. When you left the hospital, your phone stays at your phone stays at the hospital unless you have a special contract. Outside of that, that means you're working for free. That goes for you nurses too. You're getting used up, used and abused, all because you have student loan debt. It hurts me when I go to the hospital and I see tired looking doctors and nurses. Hey, you guys, you can't hide it from people that are free. And that's not anything to put down on you. I'm just explaining something to you that you cannot see. When you're free with no stress and no problems, you can see the people that do. You can see it. You can feel it. You guys give off a certain type of energy. And the last place, listen, for me, the last place I want to be, I want to see unhappy people is my doctor and the nurses where I go to the hospital at. I don't want to see unhappy people there, tired and lethargic. No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. You know how hard it is? I want to talk to tired looking doctors, but I know they're not going to listen to me because I'm not a fellow doctor colleague or whatever. They think it has something to do with that, but it doesn't. I guarantee you, doctors, here's a hint for you doctors. I guarantee you the hospitals that you work at, the first thing they probably want to know is how much student loan debt you have. You know why that is? So they know how to treat you. You have $300,000, $400,000 in student loan debt. You ain't going nowhere anytime soon, and you're gonna do whatever they say. Yeah, you're making 300, 400,000, but you're there at the hospital 24 hours a day. Who cares? Keep that money. So what? But if you're a doctor who's good at what you do, and you have no student loan debt, you walk into the hospital, you own first of all, if you even work at a hospital, you'll go to the best hospital and say, "Hey, look, I'm good at this. Here's my credentials. And by the way, I have no student loan debt." There's some hospitals that probably don't even allow doctors with student loan debt because they know they're going to get paid. Man, it just goes on and on. Well, I had a family member with over 100,000 and she dropped out of medical school. But you know what's so crazy though, Monique? This is what I think. I think about those people, those kids, those young adults that get pushed into the medical field because of their family, and they probably didn't even want to do it. But at the same time, their family saying you're gonna go to medical school, but with student loan debt. If you're one of those kids right now, I'm telling you, if you're one of those young kids that are getting pressure like that because you might got parents that do that, you turn to them and say, "Do you have student loan debt?" Because the last thing you want to do is get halfway through and then change your mind. Because you know at that point you probably have a couple 100,000, 150,000 worth of student loan debt, according to what school you go to. I can only imagine how many kids are in college right now trying to get their doctorate and don't even want to be there. They got the pressure of student loan debt and their family. They can't say that they really don't want it. Can you imagine that? That's got to be horrible. Got absolutely horrible. Then the stuff don't even make any sense. And then all of a sudden, when they graduate, they got this residency time, but they make regular money for the next 4 or 5 years. But the interest of the loan don't stop. That is messed up. All those years of school, then you got to do this residency, and make the money, the same amount of money for the people that haven't been going to school. It's like what? No. But you ain't got no choice. You have to do it. That's just the way the system works. I think it's messed up. Are you a doctor right now? Here, I'm gonna talk to the doctors that don't talk about what I'm about to talk about. You're miserable with those student loan debt. Miserable. Yeah, everybody sees the nice house, the nice clothes, the car you're driving, but they don't know about that $300,000 in student loan debt you've had for the last 15 years, right? They don't. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You have a big enough shovel to get out of it now. You do. Yes, you're gonna have to get rid of the house. Yes, you're gonna have to get rid of the car. Yes, you're gonna have to stop buying those type of clothes. Yes, you're gonna have to stop buying all the jewelry, pretending like you're a rich doctor. Yes, you have to stop doing all that. But I guarantee you this: you stop it now, you pay off your student loan debt, you get out of debt, you can buy all that stuff all you want. You can go right back into what you wanted to be. Obviously, you can do it, but with real money. Because I'm not saying don't buy the stuff that you love. I'm saying the next time you buy a house, it'll be in cash. Next time you buy that car you want, it'll be in cash. People with money, I want you doctors listen. People with money don't pay full price for stuff. Do you guys understand that? Just because the house values are this and the economy is that, it doesn't matter. Housing prices are for people who mortgage them, not for people who have cash. Do you guys understand that? I want doctors to understand that. It doesn't matter the price of anything anymore. Prices are for people who finance that stuff. You think car prices would be what they are if it was the only way you could buy is cash? Of course not. That's why the car prices are what they are, because they finance them. That goes for houses, that goes for everything, real estate, everything. As soon as you see, listen, okay, people with that under, as soon as you see people using buy now, pay later services, and as soon as you see buy now, pay later services attached to every Amazon, Apple, Nike, a Starbucks, whatever, that means those are debt slaves. Debt slaves are only people that use those services. Why are they using this? Because they have to survive. You think those big companies want to partner with buy now, pay later businesses? Of course not. They're doing it because they have to. Debt slaves have no money. Now is the man. Listen, just pay attention. You think people on the positive side break a t-shirt up in 4 easy payments? No, of course not. Oh, the worst kind too. That's the worst kind. Worst kind. What's up, Jacquees? LJ, working with someone who told me that he took a $900,000 loan on a house. Okay. He said he has 2 kids and a wife, and he's only 36. Okay. To top it off, the man is a he's a chef at a upper upgrade bar. And wow. See, I want you guys to understand something. And Jacquees, that's why you see that I want you guys understand the curse word he used in here. Okay. That's that's not a filler word, okay? It's a word to shock you, the seriousness of, to make you to get bring the seriousness of what he's trying to say. This guy financed almost $1 million home because he got 2 kids and a wife, and he's only 36. With a he's a sound like he's a top shelf at a big bar and grill. Now, on the outside looking in, you would be like, oh, that's why he can afford that house, because he's a big chef at this big bar and grill up the street. He's got to be making money. All of that could be true, but that has nothing to do with financing a house for $1 million. You guys understand that? That has nothing to do with nothing. So what a person does, like when you come to the positive side, this is your perspective, okay? I don't really look at what people drive. I don't care. It doesn't matter if they drive up in a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, if they're wearing a some watch or a hat and shoes. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really care. That's for you guys. If they're making payments, it doesn't matter what they drive. It doesn't matter the car. The driver's irrelevant if the car is financed. Do you look here, let me give you another example. You guys see how many Teslas on the road right now? I guarantee you 95% of them are probably financed, okay? That means none of them are saving money on gas. It doesn't matter. They just went from financing gas to financing electricity. But listen, they're doing even worse. They're doing even worse. Not only are they financing electricity, they're taking a longer time to finance the electricity. They're using the time in their life to finance electricity now. So instead of pulling up to the gas pump, pulling out the credit card for gas and fill up the car 5, 10 minutes, 5, 7 minutes and be out, they're pulling out the credit card for the electricity and staying 45 minutes. Sitting there, can't do anything but look at their phones. Thank God for electronics. A debt slave can sit at a electronic a charging station for 30 minutes while looking at their phone and videos. They won't even know. Next thing you know, they're going to set up stores around charging stations, coffee shops. What else are you guys going to do? Spend more money? Start charging coffee? Bernard says it's going to get worse very soon. I did taxes, financial advising for a living for 10 years. You cannot judge people by outward appearance. You cannot. Now, here's a financial expert listening to me. It's about math. I can only imagine what the finance professionals see. Hold on, this loud helicopter sounds like an army helicopter too. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Sound like one of those double propeller ones. I can only imagine what they see. Let me give you an example. I remember when I was a debt slave, right? And I remember, what did I do? I was working. I was in deep in debt, making six figures, and I was working, and then I got laid off or something. And then that same year, I went into my 401k and I pulled out like 30,000 or something, right? And because I didn't know what else to do, right? And then when I went to go see my tax person that year, I remember sitting in front of her, and she got to the part to where she saw me pull out the 30,000 in the 401k, right? She had this look on her face and her eyes got really, really big. And she looked right at me. She was like, "You pulled out money out of your 401k?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." But she never explained to me why she looked at me that way. Right. I didn't understand that. Right. But I wish she would have explained it to me, because I now know what that meant. Right. You don't really understand what that means when you're a debt slave. Like, say like this. Let me give an example. Say like you've been making six figures, you're making six figures, right? And you've been contributing to your 401k, but you're deep in debt. You're deep in debt. You can't go. You go a month without a job, you're in problems. You're in trouble, right? And you've been making six figures all your life, and you need but you're not getting the job. So you decide you're going to go ahead and pull $30,000 out of your 401k because you don't have a job. You can do that. All right. You pull it out. Well, what you don't know is that not only are you going to have a penalty for pulling it early, that 30,000 is going to be added to your annual income for that year, pushing you higher up in your tax bracket. So you're going to get penalized, and you're getting pushed up in your tax bracket, and you're getting pushed up in higher taxes, and you can't even do anything about it to change it. There's nothing you can do at all because you're in debt. You can't do anything. That's why she was looking at me, because you know how much I'm damn near 50% on that money. 50% after it was done and said, yeah, about 50%. You think I knew that? I didn't understand any of that. Now I do. Yes, you can't really see it when you're Deshaun, let me explain something really. Millions of people do not know what I teach. Millions of people do not know the economy is positive and negative. Therefore, millions and billions of people don't know about the positive side of capitalism. They do not know. That's how it's designed. Now, I want everybody to understand this. I discovered this. I didn't design it. That means it was here already. So you just do the U.S. history and say, hey, how long has capitalism been in the United States of America? 250 years? Well, that's how long it's been. It's like, even when you say that, you got to pay those taxes. It's like, When you come to the positive side, you just go, yeah, that's just what you're not really even paying them. Like when you own your own business, you're just passing them. You just collect them from the debt slaves and give them to the IRS. This here you go. This not my money. You mean it's like this. The US, you can create a product and you can pretty much charge whatever you want to charge for it, according to the market, right? And then the government just says, hey, by the way, if you say like your item's $1,000 and they say, okay, every person you charge, you're going to charge $100, so you charge them $1,100. And then when we get the $100, you give it to us. Okay, here, that sounds like a deal to me. And you keep your money. Doesn't that sound fair? Sounds fair to me. Just make sure you let us know what you spent on the business and how you did it and where the money came from, and we're all good. Okay, cool. Here you go. Make sure you get this license, that license, this license. Okay, whatever. Those are licenses. Okay, get them. This is what I would do today. If you're say like this, if you're a person that's just now coming over to the business side, you've been a W-2 worker all your life, okay? All right. Especially if you're not personally debt free, but you have a business idea. It sounds like it's about to it's definitely you proved it, it's going to take off, and you guarantee that it's going to make bread. You know how it's going to make money. This is what I strongly suggest you do. You go to hire a professional to set all your stuff up, all your business licenses, the taxes, get the EINs and bloggity blah blah blah. You let a professional do it right out the gate. Do not come from the W-2 world thinking you're going to understand taxes, especially if you're in personal debt. Do not think that. Do not think you're going to cross over here and start doing business type of taxes. You hire a professional to do that. Preferably a reputable business, or if it's an individual, this is a requirement, okay? If you hire a professional, who's an individual, the requirement is they must be personally debt free. If they're not, do not mess with them. If they're not personally debt free, no, the answer is no. The answer doesn't matter. Listen, doesn't matter if they understand why or what for what reason. Why are you saying that? Why are you asking them? What's that got to do? No, that's even when they start asking questions like that, that either further solidifies that you should not be using them. It's nothing personal. It doesn't listen. It doesn't mean they're doing a bad business deal. It doesn't mean that they're not good at what they do. It's not mean that they could have 5 stars. It doesn't have anything to do with that. If they're a tax professional and they don't know capitalism and psychological, the answer is no. That goes for professional investors too. If they're not personally debt free, let me explain something to you. Let me tell you how it works, okay? Say like you've hired an individual who claims to be a personal investor, okay? They know the stock market. They know the this and that, and they can prove it. They prove with papers and this and that, whatever, right? And then you ask them, "Do you have student loan debt?" And if the answer is yes, you say, "For how long?" And if they say 10, 15 years, that tells you that they haven't invested in themselves first. They have 15-year-old student loan debt. That's a red flag. The answer is no. You don't take it. You don't take an invest. You do not take investment advice from a person who hasn't invested in themselves first. That's wrong. Again, they could be good at what they do. I'm just telling you a different perspective. They could be legitimately good at investing. They could show you all the receipts and this and that, whatever. But if they don't know about investing in themselves first, they're missing a piece and they don't know it. That's why they have 15-year-old student loan debt talking about investing. You'd be like, your student loan debt's older than your children. That means you haven't invested in yourself. Absolutely not. Student loan debt is the worst kind of debt. Do you guys understand that? The worst. No, excuse me. IRS debt is the worst. Student loan debt is under it. That is the man. And if you have a mortgage and your mortgage, if your student loan debt is older than your mortgage, do you know what that means? That means you don't know. That's what that means. If your student loan debt is older than your FHA mortgage, That means you don't know. That's why you have an FHA mortgage. FHA mortgages are for people that don't know you can't buy a house while having student loan debt. That's what they're designed for. And I can easily tell if you're one of those people that don't know by one look at your credit report. It will tell me everything I need to know. If you have collections on your credit report and it's older than your mortgage, you're a person that don't know. Your personal credit report is everything. It tells me everything about you, the business of you. Those are your debt slave papers. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, black, white, Chinese, Asian. It does. I know a lot of channels make you believe it has something to do with somebody's race or religion or where you grew up. Math doesn't care about any of that. You think math cares if you're Russian? 1 + 1 = 2. If you heard somebody say, "Hey, man, 1 + 1 = 2," would you say in your mind, "Oh, that sounds like a black guy"? Would you say that? That would just everybody would look at you like you're weird. What do you mean it sound like a black guy? Because it has nothing to do with anything. Has nothing to do with anything. You think that slaves know that? They don't. That's why. Listen. That's why I'm looking for somebody, especially if I could get a young person that might be in school for being trying to be a tax person or tax professional, and you want to come out of school owning your own firm right out the gate in your 20s, and then your only staff will be people that understand that capitalism is psychological. Do you guys understand? You'll be wealthy in your 20s. Maybe you're into accounting and you're just fresh out of school and you're tired of working for people and you want to own your own firm and want to be the best of the United States of America in your 20s. Come see me. This is a fast track. It's like you're stepping on the Star Trek Enterprise and beaming down to a planet, but you're doing it psychologically. Your perspective, your perspective of the capitalism will be unlike any other. And it won't matter what country you go. If the country is capitalist, that's cool. That's all you need to know. That's it. That means the majority are debt slaves, no matter what country it is. That's just how it works. You get to choose which side you want to be on. You want to be a debt slave on the negative side, or you want to be a person that owns yourself on the positive side. It's totally up to you, as long as you're participating. And I strongly suggest you participate positively, because here's the main reward of participating positively. Absolutely no stress. When it comes to money, no stress at all. Economy's doing bad, okay. It affects you, but not like it does debt slaves. Once you start feeling that kind of peace, guess what you start working on after that? Internal peace. You naturally start getting rid of things and people out of your life that's disrupting your peace. That's an automatic. Because there's one thing I always say on this channel: fears, FEARS, false evidence appearing real psychologically. There's a psychological side too that is positive and negative. And once you put it this way, once you recognize the fears that are internal to your life, you're going to cut it all out. Some of it will be painful, but that pain is temporary. Always remember this: the bigger the fear, the bigger the reward on the other side of it. Fears, I know when you're in debt, fears are made to be to run from them and be scared and this. No, these type of fears are here to show you, is tell you things. You notice how they always, the same fears keep returning because they're there to tell you something. You don't keep running from it. You just stop and turn around and say, why are you here? Usually when you turn around and look at it, it's something that you always knew that was there. You're just trying to avoid it, thought it was going to go away, but it doesn't. You turn around and you face it. But understand this, the pain that might happen is temporary. It's temporary. And then when you get on the other side of that fear and you see that, man, and you know what I said to myself? I knew it. I knew it because this fear was big, big old monsters, big old scary monster too. Big. And now it's beautiful. So once, and this goes for the S&D family members. A lot of the S&D family members, they don't even know what I'm talking about being. A majority of them don't even know what I'm talking about being positive and negative on the psychological side. I just discovered this myself. But now that I'm here, it's always the obvious. Okay, I want you guys to. I want to make sure you guys. I want to explain this right. When you discover what it is or whatever, it's always the obvious. What's up, Owen? That's how it always is. It's always, yeah, what I was running from. Yeah, what I always knew. I did. I always knew. Once I start stepping further and further away from the situation, it's like, yeah, I already knew that. Yeah, okay, I did see that. Okay, I didn't. It's so crazy. And you know what I do? I just forgive myself. I just forgive myself. I didn't know what I know today. It really does mirror, just like debt. When you get out of debt, put it this way, when you finally catch on, you're like, okay, debt is bad, and you start getting out of debt and you finally get to zero, and then what you're going to do is naturally turn around and look where you were as a debt slave, and you're going to see all the things you did as a debt slave without really understanding. You're going to be like, oh, that was stupid, that was obvious. Everybody says the same thing. This is what's going to happen on the psychological side. If you have fears in your life that you've been trying to avoid, especially the ones that return, pay attention to those ones. Those are the main ones that keep coming back. You got to turn around and say, okay, what do you want? It's going to be like, I'm just trying to show you this right here. Look, you see that? That's what's causing your pain in your life and the stress. That's what it's saying. This is what's causing your stress in your life. It's there to show you what that is. Because I promise you, once you pay attention and acknowledge it and execute on it and get rid of whatever it is, you're going to be so thankful on the other side of it. You're going to be thank your lucky stars. I can promise you that. I've always known since I was a child that I was special. How do I know this? Because my mom been telling me that since I was in her stomach. All out through my life, growing up in school, you're special. I love you. You're smart. This and that. Always. Still, and listen, I'm 53 and she still says it. So obviously that was put in my head as at a young age. I just didn't know. I knew I thought different growing up. I did. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Everybody's not thinking like I'm thinking. No, everybody doesn't. How do I know this? Because I didn't know how everybody. I thought, when you're a kid, you think and you get the kind of love that I got from my mom. I thought everybody got that kind of love. That's not true. It kind of explains a lot when I was because I was never a small kid, so and I wasn't a pushover, so I didn't have bullies and kids beat me up in school. I didn't have any of that. So that was my natural ability to protect the kids that didn't couldn't defend themselves. Came to school with some messed up clothes or something, and other kids would tease them. I'd be like, "Hey man, don't be doing that." This was natural in me. I didn't like that. I just didn't like it. Just bothered me, and I was big enough to make people stop. It was just natural in me because I got brand new school clothes every single year. You naturally, as a kid, you think everybody gets new. No, that's not true. They don't get the same love. That I have no idea how that affects a person. I do now. Here I am going out in life trying to meet, women look at with the love I have that I got from my mother, thinking it was the same love out in the world. No, it's not. No, it's not. I didn't realize the love I got from my mom was rare. All of this has been pronounced to me now that I understand the psychological side, which I'll be talking about on my Sixth Sense channel. It's a whole different level. Getting out of debt is just step one. First, you got to own the physical version of yourself. You have to own the physical version of yourself because you got to figure out how to own the time in your life. If you're working hours, 50, 60 hours a week, you definitely don't own the majority of the time in your life. You don't. That's over 50% of your life. Are you crazy? There's 7 days in a week and your employer owns 5. By default, they own the majority of the time in your life. That by default. Now, when you're on the negative side, you think that's normal. Oh, that's cool, man. They can own the majority of the time of my life. Not on the positive side. That's an absolute not. But if you're in a 40-hour work week and you think that's normal, I thought it was normal too when I was on the negative side. I thought that was normal. As long as I was making 6 figures, I didn't care how many hours I worked. Doesn't even make any sense at all. One look and listen, if I was working 50, 60 hours, my credit report will explain why. Like if you're working overtime right now, 50, 60 hours, you're begging for overtime. You're happy that just because you got seniority, you get the first dibs at overtime. People that don't have debt, they don't want the overtime. They look at you weird. The coworkers look at you weird when you're not begging for overtime. How come you don't? How come you don't you want seniority? Hell no. When you're begging for overtime, your credit report's going to tell me why you're begging for overtime. That means you don't own the majority of the time in your life. But when you come to the positive side, that's going to be your mission. You won't be able to stop it. You won't be able to stop it. It'll be your mission. And once you do, that's it. There's no going back. Once you own it, once you know what it feels like to own the time of your life, there is no going back. I must warn you. You will do what it takes to own the time in your life and keep it. Your perspective of the world is totally different when you own yourself. Your credit report proves it. It can Hey, listen, as far as I know, it cannot be faked. The younger you understand this, the better. Because right now you're 18, you're in college, or you're just getting out of school, high school, you're getting ready to go to college, and you realize this information. Wait a minute, I don't hardly have no debt right now. You keep it that way. You keep it that way. You know how your life will be, man. Your dating life will be different. Why? Because you won't date debt slaves, young people. You won't. Right now, listen, right now you think it's all about looks and the person's job and how they what they drive and all this other stuff. But once you find out they're a debt slave, it won't matter how they look. It won't even, it doesn't matter if they're great sexual in the bed. It's not. I understand now that just say like you do come across a woman that's debt free. That's only half of the test. At first, I thought, because that's very rare. You think you're gonna come across a person that you're gonna date that was debt free, and I found that person, but I didn't know there was another part. There's a psychological part to it too. It's huge. But now I have a new addition to my superpower. Yes, I have superpowers. Yes. How do I know this? Because millions of people don't know what I know. That's how I know it's a superpower, and I can prove it. And now I have a new addition to it. You know how empowered I feel from this information? I the only way and listen, the only way I can know it is go through it. That's the only way I could have known this information. No different than debt. In order for you to understand what it feels like to be debt free, you have to go through the motions to pay off all your debt. And you know what's so crazy, debt slaves? You guys don't even know the United States of America even gives you an option to do it. It's called bankruptcy chapter 7. It's legal. You go see a lawyer and say, "Hey, can I get chapter 7 bankruptcy?" And if they say yes through the legal, then you get it, and now you're free. Now you're probably not doing it because other debt slaves are like, oh man, bankruptcy's for losers. That means you're not good with money and this and that. You're worried about, oh man, bankruptcy stays on your your credit report for 10 years and all that stuff. You turn to them and say, do you have car payments? If they say yes, that's why they're saying that. If you file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy and you get it and all your debt is cleared, who cares if it stays on your credit report for 10 years? You're not even going to be using it. That 10 years is going to go by so fast, you're not even going to care. It's crazy. Just trust me, when you're debt free and still working, trust me, your coworkers know without saying it a word. Your body language speaks exactly. When you're debt free and you have a job, your coworkers are going to know it. You're gonna be acting different, talking different. You're gonna be making different large amounts to your 401k. You're gonna be like, hey, what's the max this year? It's gonna be like, oh, 20,500. Okay, max it out. What? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Do it. You know, so crazy. This is debt slaves believe they're getting a match. That's why they say, "Hey, don't leave free money on the table." Listen to all the sayings they use for debt slaves. Hey, don't leave money on the table. You get a 50% match. You do this, we'll match 3%. Bloggity blah blah blah. You guys just believe you ain't got no money to match anything. They know you will never be able to contribute the max, which is like 20,500, whatever it is right now. It changes every year. You guys are not doing that. So they got to get you guys in somehow, and then they just pretend like they're leaving money on the table or they're going to do something. And anytime you guys think there's free money, you guys just take it. You know how many videos are on the internet talking about leaving free? Hey man, you better get that match. That's free money. Whatever. You can't get a match if you got student loan debt because you have no money to contribute to get the match. You understand? If you say like you have a mortgage, okay? For those of you that think you're getting a match because whatever you're contributing, right? Say like you're contributing 6% or whatever that is, some made up number they make up, 6%. If you open up the calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal, that's the amount of money you have to take 6% from. Okay? That's the amount of money you have to take 6% from. Now you're probably saying to yourself, "Well, LJ, that's a large negative number. It's not there." It's not. You're right. The answer is yes. So you don't have any money to get a match. You guys understand? Because I'm not saying the people with money, they do get a match because they do have money to contribute to get a match, but you don't. That's the difference. Yes, it's true. If you put in 6%, the company's going to match, but you have to have the 6% to put in to get the match. The reason why you can't do that, look at your credit report. Those are your slave papers, your debt slave papers. I imagine how many people don't even know how many pages are on their credit report. Can you imagine? Hundreds of thousands of people have no idea how much debt they're in, don't know if they got collections, don't understand why each credit score is different. They don't even question. You guys just look for the highest credit score and say that's your credit score. There's three. Listen to debt slaves. They always tell you the credit score and they always say one. It's like everybody knows you have three. Why you keep mentioning one? Because it's the highest one of the three. Come on, debt slaves just do that. They don't know credit scores mean nothing, and they know there's three of them, but they always tell you one of them. Why? Because it's the highest one of the three. To debt slaves, that means something. That means nothing. When you tell your credit score to somebody else and they care about it, and then they tell you about theirs, that's because you guys care about credit scores. Debt slaves. Debts Credit scores are reward points for staying in debt with the owners listed on your credit report. You pay your payments on time, they thank you, and they give you a credit score. Thank you. Thank you for the interest payment. Thank you. Thank you for paying back our money on time. Here's a point. What's the point for? So you can get in debt, more debt later. Here's a point. Oh, my score is 850. So what? Why are you telling me that? So? Oh, my credit limit's like 20,000. So what? Why are you telling me about the bank's money? The bank will loan you 20,000. What's that supposed to mean to me? I don't get it. They gave you an easy access card to be 20,000 in debt with them? Congratulations. If I got a credit card on the business side and I'm paying interest on that credit card, it has a purpose. Whatever I'm doing there, it's a specific purpose. The bank knows it. I know it. Because as soon as they run my credit, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he clearly understands, so he's doing something." Any questions? Are you a debt slave? You don't want to believe that your credit report is your owner papers? You don't want to believe that? You don't want to believe that? Maybe you're into maybe you're in a relationship with somebody that's in debt and don't want to get out. That relationship's pretty much over if you wake up. If you if you're with somebody right now and you follow me and then you tell them and they don't want to hear it, that relationship is over. I don't care how good the sex is. I don't care if you guys got kids together. You're not going to continue your life with a debt slave. I promise you. The more freedom you start to feel as you pay off your debt and no stress Everything is not as expensive as when you have no car payments, you don't really care about gas prices. When you have no debt, put it this way, when you have absolutely no debt, think about it this way. Say like you had no debt and you owned a house and no mortgage, nothing at all, your car's paid off, everything you have right now, but everything's paid off. Would you care about gas prices anymore? Of course not. You'll go fill up, maybe look at the price and say, wow, that was a lot, and then you'll drive away. I'll tell you one thing. If you bought a Tesla in cash, right? You had the money to buy a Tesla in cash. I guarantee you're not going to be sitting at a charging station waiting in line to even get to the charging station and then sit at 30. You're going to have a supercharger at home because it's about time. When I get an electric car, I'm gonna have a supercharger at home. So when I pull up and park, I'm at home. I just plug up and go in the house and do what I was going to do anyway. I'm excited, man. My next house, man, it's gonna be a house of peace. 100% peace. I'm so excited. Yep, everyone talking down on renters like they own the banks. Exactly, Jacquees. Are you a person right now? They're talking about you. You're throwing away money on rent. You turn to them and say, "Do you have a mortgage?" When they tell you yes, you stop listening to them. They're just paying rent to the bank. They just call it a mortgage payment instead of a rent payment. At least I get to paint my walls what I want to wall and tear down this and that if I want to. Of course, as long as you're making the payments. Yes, you can. The bank doesn't care what you do as long as you're making the payments on that house. But once you stop making the payments, guess what? You don't have no walls to paint. You don't get to knock out a wall and add a bedroom. You don't get to do anything because you don't have a house to do that in. That's how my life is now. I fill up and exactly, Enigma. I don't even pay attention. Now I did pay attention this recently because I went back to the Pacific Northwest and gas prices are very different than down south. I was surprised about that. I'm like, damn, almost $5 a gallon. I went from like 220, 250 to $5 a gallon, double. Absolutely bananas. But you still don't care. It was so beautiful. I drove back from South Carolina to Washington State all alone. It was beautiful. Nice. Didn't have a care in the world. Just driving. Got to meet a SMD family member on my way back. That was awesome. SMD family member Owen. That was awesome. Now I've met a total of 3 SMD family members now in person. Any questions? Is this the first time you heard somebody call your credit reports debt slave papers? That's what they are. When you're debt free, you don't really care about your credit report like that. You just don't. I always get alerts from, hey, your credit score is up, it's down, it's up, it's down. Where do I turn that feature off? Because I don't want you guys telling me that stuff. I don't care. That's for you, debt slaves, to send you guys in a panic. If your credit, they send an alert, hey, your credit score is affected. It went down. The first thing you're gonna do is jump on. What do I need to do to change it? I was like, hey, get this credit card. It'll help you do this and that, and then you guys will do it. It's so funny because I used to say, okay, wait a minute. I can apply to get my credit report free once a year, but if I sign up for Credit Karma and all these other ones, I can check it anytime I want for free. Yes, and don't you find that weird? It's your credit report, but you can only get it once directly. But if you want to see it all the time, you just sign up with a program and they can show it to you all the time. And it's yours. Does that make sense? That says it's a business. That's what that says. When I sign up for like Experian or Credit Karma, I just make sure I turn off all the alerts. I don't want you guys telling me anything. I don't care about any of that because they turn that on by default. To those who don't know, when you finance a home in a subdivision, that small piece of land you get is set you back 100,000 on top. Okay, so it's cheap to purchase some land and build a home. Oh, you mean all those houses that they squeezing together? Because they are going crazy in Myrtle Beach. I know that they are building like crazy there. Banks will say to you, let me see your debt slave papers." They sure do. They can't say it though. Do you guys notice? You notice how debt slaves are traded? If you have a mortgage, you ever get those papers in the mail and say, "Hey, by the way, we're your new bank. You're going to be sending papers. You're going to be sending the payments to us. Here's your new booklet and this and that." That's how they trade you guys. You notice you don't have no say in it. You have absolutely. You just one day you just look in the mail and say, "Hey, we're your new owners," and you're just like, "Oh, okay. This is where I send my money now." Yes, we bought you. We own you now. You send your money here instead of there. We own you now. Don't you? That's got to be a horrible feeling. You ever notice they always reach out in the right time and say, "Hey, you the refinance rates are great right now," and they just happen to reach out to you at the exact same at the right perfect time because they already know if you're in financial trouble. Come on, debt slaves. If you're getting behind on your payments, and then all of a sudden they get a great introductory rate to refinance your house, you're just going to refinance all that debt into the new loan. Oh man, when you think about it, it's just absolutely just amazing how that works. Just to the person that's listen, to the person that's in trouble under debt, they're like, "Oh my God, how am I gonna get out of this debt? This is crazy. I'm in some trouble." Then voila, something the bank sends you a, "Hey, we got some good introductory rates. You got about 50,000 in equity in your house. You refinance now, you can just pay off the car and this and that." So they have you pay say like you have a car loan. They want to get rid of that unsecured debt. You're gonna refinance the house, pay off the car. They're like, "Woo, we got that depreciating object off of our books, wrap that money right back into the house. Voila, just like magic." And then here you are walking around thinking, "Oh, yeah, my car is paid off." It's so crazy how the debt slaves will do that. They'll refinance the house and pay off the cars and then go around and tell everybody they got their cars are paid off. Oh, my goodness. It is absolutely congratulations, banks. Congratulations. That is absolutely magnifico. That's how they do people that are owned. Your credit report reflects that. You're owned, especially the ones that are too scared to look at their credit reports. You guys know there are hundreds of thousands of people that are scared to even look at their credit reports. That blows my mind. Those ones that are scared and you don't know. Let me. I guess the deepest debt slave is the one that is terrified to know. That is terrified to know. Yes, $5 a gallon, sure is. Just filled up my truck the other day for freaking $120. I was like, "Damn, $120 for my" yep, that's what it was. I'm like, "Ooh, good thing I'm debt free." It don't really bother me like that because I'm not first of all, I'm not even driving my truck that much. People are like, dang, LJ, you still got that old truck? I sure do. Why? Why should I change it? For what? Anything that go wrong with it, I just put it in the shop and get it fixed professionally. Not a friend. I just say, hey, I go to a professional, reputable shop and say, can you fix this? Yeah, because I don't want it to happen again. And then they fix it. 290. Yeah, I remember it was around there when I left. Sure was. I will be back there, QJC, though. I ain't gonna lie, that was a lovely cocoon. That was a beautiful, beautiful place. Sign that mortgage and you will always have financial. It sure will. Sign that mortgage. You are now owned. Congratulations. And I always think to myself, how long, I wonder how long did they get people to, how long did it take to get people to believe it takes 30 years to pay off one house when it only takes a day? You guys got to understand that must have took decades. Because the new generation now believes it takes 40. And what you guys really don't understand is this: the amount of years it's this the amount of years it takes to pay off a house is really irrelevant, because you know how many times people refinance their house during the time during the 10 years that they have it. People refinance their house several times. So the initial 30 years is irrelevant, really. Oh, this system, man, I tell you. It is absolutely. And all they got to do is one look at your credit report. They're going to know, the bank is going to know exactly how to treat you. You guys understand that? It's not your credit score. Your credit scores are just indicators. Okay. Your credit scores are just indicators. If you pay back the money on time or not. All right. It just says it. It could be, or it could be somebody that just doesn't use credit. It could be one or the other. But that's it. The internal pages of your credit report are the important part. How many people own you? And if you got pages, listen, if you got pages and pages on your credit report, that's a lot of owners. All of those people are invested in you. You are the stock. They all own a piece of you. True. Credit scores are good for insurance, higher credit. That is very true, but when you have money and you pay it every 6 months and you own your car, you get to dictate what's on the policy, you are saving a ton of money right off the bat, regardless of the credit score, really, because you're dictating everything. Yeah, I don't need that. Take that off. Put that on. Okay, I'll do full. Bring down the deductible, because we get to go max deductibles too, Omanike. What's the highest deductible? Yep, that's the one I'll take. Everything we can do because we have money. The debt slaves cannot. Debt slaves insurance is dictated by the bank, because they finance the car with them. So the bank is to tell them what kind of insurance they're going to have because they own the car. Tons of people upside down in their car, gap insurance. You guys are, man, and your credit report reflects that. Let me tell you something. If you have gap insurance, your personal credit report is going to tell me why you have gap insurance. 40-year mortgage, you won't live to see it. You sure won't. They're not paying off no. They're not taking no 40 years. Man, Omanike said, I had one. Man. My parents thought about refinancing their mortgage, but ultimately did not. Oh, whew, thank goodness they didn't. For sure about that. The argument I'm running into on, on a day-to-day is, why am I going to spend $2,200 a month on rent when I can just buy a place to live? People rarely mention the hidden cost of ownership. Well, again, Jacquees, they're talking about mortgages. Put it this way, if you buy a house in cash, Jacquees, you're not going to care about the cost of ownership because you had the money to buy the house in the first place. The last thing you're going to think about is maintaining the house if you buy the house in cash. I promise you that. That's the last thing. Last thing. Meaning, I'm with you unless it's business. I'll do it in business. It counts on the circumstances, but I will do it in business. I hate being gaslit into mortgaging my life away to validate the poor choices of those who succumb to the societal pressures to conform. Yep. I'd rather be in it. Yep. Don't. It's not even. It's not even being gaslit. You got to understand, Jacques, that's a program that they're running. Debt slaves believe that they can buy houses with mortgages, even though it's not mathematically true. You can't. So if they believe it, that means they're running the program and they don't know it. So if they're saying it out loud, hey, look what I bought. And you turn to them and you say, you got a mortgage? And they say, yes, you got to just dismiss them because they think they bought a house with a mortgage and they don't know it. That's the psychological part. They don't know that. Omanika says, LJ, it will be 2-year anniversary of being debt free. Wow, it's been 2 years already. That is crazy. That has been 2 years. That is crazy. That felt like yesterday when you made that decision. Wow. Time is moving, man. These last 6 years of my life, every day that goes by, I feel like it was a blink of an eye. Like I just had left Seattle, boom, I'm back. It's weird. Call me weird, but until I can afford to buy and furnish a home comfortably, I will proudly rent. Me too. Because you understand, Jacques, rent is an expense. When you hear somebody say stop throwing away money on rent, automatically should tell you that they don't know what they're talking about, because it's not like you're not getting anything for your money. You have a roof over your head. Everything is fixed. When it breaks, you just call the landlord or the manager. They come and fix it, and your rent still stays. It's just, you're not throwing away money on anything there, unless you can live somewhere for free, which is rare. You have to pay rent. It has to be. But when you don't have no debt, rent is not really that expensive. It's just is what it is. And especially if you ain't got no debt, you walk up to the manager. They always make you sign, like the majority of places make you sign a year lease. Okay. They're not expecting this from somebody to say, hey, can I get a reduction on my rent if I pay out the whole year right now? If I pay the whole year right now, can I get a month for free? 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you yes, because nobody ever does that. Now you just dropped your expenses for the year by a month, by just that one move that only you can do because you have the money to do it. Everybody else don't. So they have to do all that other stuff. By paying out your rent for a whole year, it saves them the rent being late. They don't collect it. They're getting an attorney to do something. You just save them so much money because they got all the money up front. So they know your rent's never going to be late because they have it now. And for that lovely gift, they're going to take off a month of your rent, maybe 2. You never know. Counts on the situation of the place. That's called phantom income. You're right, Robert. Thank you, sir. It's called phantom income. You can save money that debt slaves can't because you have the money to do it. Debt slaves cannot pay their rent for a year. They can't pay out the whole lease. Exactly, QJC. Rent is nothing. When you have no debt, it's nothing. Any SMD family members that have the ability, if your lease is coming up and you have the money to buy, if you're gonna be staying there anyway, you might as well do it, right? If you're gonna stay there a year, the next year, and you could probably possibly get a month off of your next year's contract rent, I would do that. They're gonna be shocked. They're gonna be like, "What? Nobody's ever done that." Because who was that? Owen said he had paid his rent just in advance. That could be 1 or 2 months, whatever that is. They're like, "Hey, nobody ever does that." Imagine if you have to pay out a year. You guarantee nobody's doing that. Begin debt free. Begin debt free is a good way to stay ahead of racism and limit its impact on your. That is true, because racism is here. You're right. When you're debt free, I know people don't think it has one to do with the other, but it does. You get to ignore a lot of that stuff. It doesn't affect you like the way it normally would, probably. Yeah, that's a good point. I pay my rent in full for the last 2 years. I can't share this information. Oh, wow. Nowhere but here. Oh, wow. And now QJC, did they give you a deduction? Did they take some money off or anything? Or did they say, no, you just have to pay what it is? Or what they do? And Omanike, have you done that yet, Omanike? See what they say? It would be worth a call. Just say, hey, if I pay my thing, and would you guys take off something? You guys that's just a quick phone call away. Anybody can do that. You never know what they say. It counts on their situation. Because if you got a whole complex of people not paying their rent on time because of the economy, and you're a person that comes along and say, I pay mines in a year, you never know what kind of deal they'll give you. That's called phantom income. You just save them some time and money. And probably some money that they needed anyway to make a quota or something. Who knows? Any questions? Yeah, just 1 month, but I'm working on paying multiple months of rent ahead now that I've saved up a 6 months emergency fund, though I guess I could just apply that fund to my rent because it's pretty much the same thing, but do it the way you're doing it, Owen. Everybody does it their own steps. I'm just saying it out loud. I'm not if you're doing a couple months, maybe that's what you got to do to work your way up to whatever, right? And then one day it'll just be the whole lease agreement, because they usually, like I said, they usually go by years, a year lease agreement. And if you pay that right up front, man, I can't see nobody reducing your rent. I just can't. Might as well get something out of it because it sounds like you're paying ahead, but they're not giving you a break of anything for paying ahead. You should be saying, hey, just ask them that. If I pay 2 months ahead, can you guys take off any money? I don't care if it's $10, $20. Take it off. Take $100 off. Take it off. Oh, they took off 2 months. Wow. Holy moly. Wow. For the 2 years or 1 year? 2 months for 2 years or 2 months for 1 year? Debt-free living is beautiful, man. It's a whole different language, living on the positive side. And I'm trying to, like I said before, I'm trying to reach the tax professionals, business tax professionals, business accounting professionals that don't know capitalism is psychological, but you have the drive to be the best already, because that's the hardest part. You got to have the drive already. I'm just here to help you. I'm just here to help you. You're probably thinking, well, I've been in the game for 20 years, man. How you gonna make me the best? Just get over that part. That's ego. Who he think he is? He think he's better than. That's ego. Just get over that. All you got to do is follow the math. If you just follow the math, it'll get rid of ego. You'll be like, why am I upset at his mathematical correctness? Jacques says, check my credit report and my debt is just under 6,000. Congratulations. Looking to pay that before the summer of 2024. Meanwhile, mom is trying to drill into my head that it's either the master's degree or bust. Interesting. I don't even know what that means. What does bust mean? What's that mean? She kicking you out, or what's that mean? I guarantee you this: if that means bust, kick out, just get a job, create a business, and pay her rent. She won't kick you out no more. I promise you that. Start paying her rent. I don't know if you do it now. Pay her rent now, or pay her some more. She'll stop that. All you got to do is get them used to that rent money that's coming on time every single month. Oh, 2 months for each year. Wow. Oh, 2 months for so he paid. So in other words, you paid for 10, live for a year and pay 10 months. Wow. Okay. Congratulations. I bet you they're like, damn, this dude's paying his whole year of rent up front. He's rich. They probably like, what does he do? What's he do? Is he a lawyer or he's a doc? No, man, he just got a regular job. Oh, he's probably rich because look at his car. It's old. Yeah, that's why he ain't got no money. Look, his car is really old. But if you pay attention, here's a giveaway. Okay, I'm gonna give you some hints that people that might have some money. If you see an older car, but it's really really clean, it looks well maintained inside and out, but you know the car is about 10 years old, that's a hint. Okay, those are hints that it might not be what you see. Yep, if you have cash, they will work with you. The land sure will. Yes, they will. I don't live with her. She basically thinks that taking a huge loan for a master's degree is worth the financial hit. On the other hand, I am pivoting into IT. I would do that. I would look at the world around me. That's what I did when I got into the computer industry. This is when Windows 95 was just coming out at this particular time when I started getting into computers, right? I kid you not. All right. So I live in Seattle, Washington. Okay. And so this is where Microsoft is headquartered, right? I remember when Windows 95 came out. I didn't know nothing about computers at this time, but Microsoft made such a big deal about Windows 95. They brought in rock bands, big old hoopla concert, this and that. I said to myself, okay, I don't understand the seriousness of it, but obviously it is. It's obviously serious because they wouldn't put that much money into it. That's what I said to myself. So I said, I'm gonna get into computers. I said to myself, I have to understand what gigabytes and megabytes and terabytes and all this the data, I had to understand that language. I said, okay, I'm gonna understand it. And that's what I did. So if you're gonna do cybersecurity, which is always gonna be needed, cybersecurity is always gonna be needed. And when you're debt free and that's your goal, you could be the best cybersecurity person in the world if you want, and they will pay you accordingly. The crazy part about it, I've been in virtualization, specifically VMware, for years. Once I became debt free, I had no more interest in it. That was weird to me. I didn't really understand that part at first, but I had absolutely no interest in what I did, what I had been doing for years. And I used to love it. I used to love it. Just go to a company that has educational reimbursement benefits, then have them pay for your masters. But what you're saying, you're saying get into debt with student loan debt and then get reimbursement benefits and all that other stuff. That's the part you're missing. You got to get into debt first and then cross your fingers and hope these people pay back what they say. Because that means usually if you get a job, that means you have to work for them. And what you're saying is, and most of them say like this, if you work with us for 10 years, we'll pay off your student loan debt. I'm not working for anybody. This is what I want people to understand. When you sign up for a program or a job that says, hey, if you work for us for 10 years, we'll pay off your student loan debt. What you're saying is this: you don't believe you can make enough money yourself to pay off your student loan debt within 10 years of your life. That's what you're saying. When you sign up for a program like that, that's what you're saying. That means you're saying you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe you could pay off your student loan debt within 10 years of your life. That's what you're saying. So if you go with this company and do everything they say and do it, cross all the T's and I's and make sure you do everything of those whole 10 years, which you will have to do. What if they decide to let you go in year 8? Now what? You got to start all over again? Maybe. Who knows? What's up, Jesus? All right. Well, I'm gonna put this up here one more time and then I guess I'm gonna get off. Any questions? Any questions? All right. Well, let me see. What you say? Yes. Work for a company after a bachelor's degree. After a year, many companies will give you $5K a year towards additional education as one of their benefits. Yes, time I yes, time I a is a excuse me, is a commodity. It keeps moving. All right, then I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you everybody for joining. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the show today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I have a link in the description of the video to my new channel that I will be debuting on January 1st, 2024. Basically, the beginning of my new life, what I've learned the last 6 years, how I got here, how I came to this new conclusion to life, what I've learned. It's, and I will be going into detail about that. Basically, it's a relationship with like narcissist people, a narcissist woman that I didn't know was just a narcissist, which pushed me into understanding narcissism deeper. And then you can't really, the wonderful thing about it is that you tell the average person about a relationship with a narcissist that have never experienced it, they're not going to really know, right? They don't really understand the psychology behind it. Psychology behind it. It's very deep. It's very deep. And I believe God put me in this particular situation because he knew I was strong enough to get out. And that's exactly what I did. I left it. And I think about how many people that are not strong enough to leave it. Hell, you might be a person that's in it and you don't know that you're in it because that's how powerful it is. You don't really understand or know that you're in it until you're out of it. But I'm not only here to help the people get out of it after the fact too. Thank you, Lori, excuse me. Thank you as a new subscriber and enjoying listening to your channel live. I'm taking notes. Thank you very much. I'm glad to see new subscribers still. Don't forget to join my new channel, Lori. It's in the description. 6 Cents, YouTube at 6 Cents. Number 6, IXTHCENTS. All right, everybody. You guys have a wonderful evening, especially you guys on the East Coast. It's only 2:30 going on 2:30 here. 3:30, 4:30. It's going on 5:30 East Coast. All right, you guys have a good one. Later.